Come for a walk and talk with me and Luna. Have you ever wondered what burnout actually looks like? Because I think we often imagine burnout as someone completely falling apart, but actually burnout can look like someone who is still functioning. They're still going to work, they're still answering emails, they're still meeting deadlines. Essentially, they're still getting everything done. But internally, everything feels so much harder. Burnout isn't simply being tired after a stressful week at work. The World Health Organization describes it as a result of having chronic workplace stress that hasn't been successfully managed, and it involves three main things: exhaustion, becoming increasingly detached or cynical about work, and feeling less effective. And one of the biggest reasons that it's so easily missed is that it happens gradually. You might sleep for 8 hours and still wake up exhausted. You might struggle to concentrate or make simple decisions. You might become much more irritable than usual. You might stop enjoying things that you normally love. You might start cancelling plans because even socializing feels like another thing you have to do. And perhaps most importantly, you might start thinking, why can't I cope with things I used to cope with? That's where we can get caught up in really unhelpful circles. Because instead of thinking I'm exhausted, we think I'm lazy, I've lost motivation, I'm not disciplined enough, I'm just not as good as I used to be. But functioning isn't the same thing as being well. And this is particularly important for high-achieving people. If you're used to being the person who gets things done, you might keep pushing through the exhaustion because you've learned to see it as something that you should be able to overcome. So you tell yourself you'll be able to rest after the next deadline, then the next project comes, then the next busy period comes, until eventually your baseline is changed so gradually that you don't even realize how exhausted you've become. And that's why we also need to be so careful about the way we talk about resilience. Because sometimes the question isn't how do I become better at coping with this? Sometimes it's why am I being asked to cope with this in the first place? Burnout most definitely isn't a character flaw. It's not laziness, and it's definitely not a sign that you've suddenly become incapable. Sometimes the person that looks like they're coping is actually the person who's been coping for far too long. And instead of asking ourselves what's wrong with me, we should ask, what has been demanding more from me than I can sustainably give?